Look who's weighing in, Draymond Green, on a potential LeBron Kyrie reunion in LA. Look at what he said. With LeBron James, if you give them someone like Kyrie, they're going to have a chance because of the way Kyrie can score the basketball. LeBron will only put him in a position to do that. Kyrie has not proven to be a great leader. Ooh. LeBron will put an umbrella over that. If you can do what you're good at, you have LeBron leading. They could contend, but they won't beat us. Got a little nuggets in there.
Exactly what he wanted to happen. You're talking about him. It's perfect. I mean, Draymond basically just said, I think I want to be on Get Up on Monday. I'm going to come out with this comment.
And there you go. You buy it?
Yeah, I don't see the lie there anywhere. I think, if you look at Kyrie's whole track record in the league, right? We talked about in the last segment, he has not proven to be any kind of a leader of a team.
He can lead one guy.
What's that?
He can lead one guy.
Well, yeah, he's a tremendous talent. He's a tremendous talent who has proven to be an amazing scorer. And as we're seeing in these highlights when he was with the Cavs, the best role he is in, as Draymond said, is when he's the shooting guard next to a lead ball handler. We saw when he was in Brooklyn last year with James Harden, when, as Zach pointed out earlier, he was an all-NBA caliber player. He gave up being point guard immediately to James Harden, right? He said, James, you're going to run the team, and I'm going to go out and score. And that's the role that Kyrie fits in perfectly. So, yeah, if he teams up again with LeBron, with the Lakers, obviously that is the kind of role we've seen him have a ton of success in. But as Draymond also said, that Laker team would still have a ton of holes. They'd have to have 10 or 11 minimum contract players on the team. We saw how that went last year. Wow. I just don't think they'd be deep enough to be able to win even with those three guys, despite the fact that they obviously would have a ton of top-end talent.
So, Zach, living in this world that there's a possibility that LeBron and Kyrie team up, are they a contender for you?
First of all, you got to love Draymond because, first of all, it's unwise to ever disagree with him about basketball. And number two, he's got to get right there at the end. He's got to get the dig in. They won't beat us. God bless Draymond Green.
Yep.
We're really having a conversation about whether a team with Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis could contend for a title. Absolutely, they can contend for a title. That's like a tailor-made modern big three. And I do think, just like what happened with Paul George is happening with Anthony Davis, we're only remembering the most recent stuff we've seen, and everybody is getting too low on Anthony Davis, just like they did on Paul George. I expect a big bounce back from Anthony Davis. Tim is right that filling out the rest of the roster is going to be tricky. We saw that mostly went bust last year. We haven't even talked about Russell Westbrook, who should probably be mentioned because he might be making more money than anyone on that team, which is kind of a problem. But yeah, I think that team with those three guys, if you can get them healthy, playing 40 minutes a game at the most high-stakes moments in the playoffs, they could absolutely contend for a title. LeBron is still that good, and those other guys are stars.
And to be clear, I do think they'd be a contender. I just think their flaws would be a little too much for them to ultimately
Not for the Warriors.
Right.
But here's what gets me.
39 and 13 in the playoffs, Kyrie and LeBron.
Wow.
Pretty good.
39,
that's amazing.
That's going to put you in contention to maybe win a championship. And I love what Zach said, because we don't talk about two guys. We don't talk about Ben Simmons. We don't talk about Anthony Davis, because obviously they've had injury issues and other issues. Anthony Davis can guard 1 through 4. Anthony Davis can make shots. Anthony Davis can protect the rim. Anthony Davis is a unique talent. If you can take those guys and find the right role players around them, and these are a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
What do they do with Russell Westbrook? Do they eat it? Do they sell? Did they try to get rid of him for a bunch of role players? Who knows what happens? But you take those three guys, the Golden State Warriors are terrific. But there was a time during the playoffs we didn't think the Golden State Warriors were going to win.
That's true. That's true.
And in the end, obviously they got it done. Having a guy like Kyrie, when he's right, complimented by LeBron, I mean, yeah, why? Of course they can win it.
Yeah,
all right,
it's a
so
talent league, and that's a lot of talent.
Yeah,
that's true. So on the other side of this, if Kyrie does leave, where does that leave KD? Well, that leaves every other team wanting to get him. And then look at this. Damian Lillard channeled that exact thought. He took over Instagram this weekend, and he posted that. And everybody went crazy, saying, oh, this could happen, this could happen. Tim, it makes me think, how does the scepter of KD affect everything going on with Kyrie and the Nets?
Well, it's like we've talked about a whole bunch on the show, right? That's really the nexus of everything that's going on here, is what does this mean for Kevin Durant, right? That's why this all matters. Kyrie is a great player, but there's players like Kyrie in the league. There's hardly any players ever who've been like Kevin Durant, and that's why this is such a big deal. And as you saw with this Dame Instagram post, right? When there's the potential, and I don't know if we're ever going to get to this point, but when there's the potential for a guy like Kevin Durant to be on the board for teams to go get, every team in the league, as Zach said earlier, all 29 other teams are going to have on their board, what would it take for us to trade for him? Do we have a package that we could get in the game with the Nets? That's what everybody is thinking. Now, every team is not going to have the ability to do it, but as Dame pointed out there in that Instagram post, it's something everybody in the league will be thinking about.
Zach, what are the chances that we've seen KD play his last game for the Nets?
I'm not going to put a percentage number on it, but it's not zero, and it might be significantly higher than zero depending on how this Kyrie thing unfolds. And like Tim says, KD, the whole league will at least have a meeting about it. And the key is, if you want Kevin Durant, first of all, Damian Lillard, great job on Instagram. Where are the other 29 teams? Every team's got to have a designated Durant Instagrammer to put next to your best player. Every team's got to be on this. But what you've got to have is a blue chip young player that could be the centerpiece of a trade for the Nets. And it's got to be true blue, navy blue as it gets. It can't be someone who's just pretty good. It's got to be a star young player. And most importantly, because Durant will have some say in this if it ever gets to that point, you got to have enough left in the cupboard for him to go there and feel like I've got enough around me to win a title. That sounds like an easy balance to strike. It's not when you're talking about a player of Durant's caliber, but we're not quite there yet. The Nets are optimistic still, or hopeful at least, that if it comes to this with Kyrie, they can go to Kevin and say, we've still got Ben Simmons. We'll trade Kyrie for some good players. We could have cap space as soon as next summer. Stick with us. That's going to be their selling point anyway.
And by the way, he is signed for 4 years after signing an extension last summer, right? There is some power on the Nets side because of that.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.